to welcome our guests on the special session at the Geetharathan International Business School. I would like to welcome Director Professor Dr. P.M. Johari for presenting sampling to our chief guest, Shri Divya Jyoti Jaipuriar. Geetharathan International Business School was established in the year 2004. GIBS is affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi, and is approved by All India Council for the Technical Institution, Ministry of HRD, Government of India for Technical Programs, and Bar Council of India for Law Programs. GIBS is centered offering postgraduate programs like MBA, BBA, MBA International Business School, and undergraduate programs like BBA LLB, BA LLB, and BB. GIBS have been affiliated and graded A by the National Assessment and Accredited Council in second cycle. GIBS have been rated A by the Academic Audit Cell of GGS IP University consequently from the past 8 years. Also, GIBS have been rated number 2 by the Time B School Service consequently for the past 3 years. At GIBS, thrust is given with cess minimizing knowledge on new concepts which have been applied in the industry. Going by this agenda, the institution is conducting a personality development workshop on analytic and evaluation skills to choose the most suitable information, sources, consumer protection, and new age agencies. The source person for today's event is Shri Divya Jyoti Jaipuriar. He is currently posted at President, District Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, which is set under the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. This is his second term starting from the September 21. Prior to his appointment, he was the president in the East District Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, Southwest, under now repealed Consumer Protection Act 1986, since May 2016 till May 2022. Before joining as the president in 2016, he was practicing as an advocate in Delhi, primarily in Supreme Court and Delhi High Court since 2006. After completing his BBA LLB from the Law Center, Delhi University, he has also authored a book titled Leading Cases on Right to Information, published in the year 2005, and his article have been published in the book Milestone 7, Journey of RTI Act 2012. Coming to the topic of the day. Goings are the days of the caveat emptor. Now, consumer is the king. There are no dearth of sellers who wish to fulfill all the consumer's demand and cannot afford to alienate consumers with bad service and products. In today's world, the protection of the consumer is considered to be the utmost important. All around the world, mechanisms have also been propounded upon in order to uphold the satisfaction of the consumer. The Consumer Protection Act 2009 replaced the 3-decade-old consumer protection with the new features defining a consumer as a person who buys any goods or avails a service for a consideration. As for the new act, the central government will set up a Central Consumer Protection Authority with an investigation wing to promote, protect, and enforce the rights of the consumer. The setting up of the Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission at national, district, and state level have been done according to the new rules. After this session is over, the student will be well versed with the insights on the above topic. I would request Shri Divya Jyoti Jaipuriar to kindly take over the session.
Thank you very much. So there is a part on the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act. Yes. So before this gets open, just on to the, yes, that's all. So before this gets open, just let me ask you a question. Who is a consumer? Anyone? Just anyone come up and say.
Who buys product?
Correct.
Products or services?
Anyone who consumes, simple. Anyone who consumes from the day when he is born till his death, whatever he consumes, and if he is consuming, he is a consumer. So, the rights of the Consumer Protection Act protects the rights of the consumer. I'll deal with the Consumer Protection Act a little later. But before that, it's very important to understand that the consumer is the king, and he has the right to know everything about the product and about the services that he is availing from any of the agencies. Prior to introduction of money, currency, everything was done used by barter exchange. You go to the market, you give some product and take the other product from the market. But with the introduction of the currency and then cryptocurrency and then digital currency and all, the mode of exchange of the consumer goods from the market has changed many folds. So when we talk about the problems and the nuances of the consumer rights, and then how the consumers are to be protected, we also have to see the problems that the consumers they face. We also have to see that what are the problems and what are the areas where we have to take control, and then we have to see that the consumer rights are being protected, and then they are well protected. So internationally, there is an organization which is called Consumer International, and they organize World Consumer Rights Day every year on in the month of March. And every year they come up with a topic of the year on the consumer rights. You know what is the topic of this year Consumer International? On what topic did they celebrate this Consumer Rights Day? Anyone? No. This year they have chosen fair digital finance. So I would come on to that particular aspect. Also, I'll just deal with all the aspects that the consumer they face vis-a-vis the Consumer Protection Act, and then how we can use Consumer Protection Act to overcome our problems. So this year, the topic of World Consumer Rights Day on 15th March, that has already gone, was the fair digital finance. And the purpose of that topic this year was to give education to the consumers that how they can protect their rights and what are their rights using the digital transactions, and how they can protect their rights using different means of the Consumer Protection Acts and different ways. So, is there any problem? Okay. So it is very important to understand that when you are doing a digital transaction, then what are your rights and how you can protect yourself while doing the digital transaction. That was the motto of World Consumer Rights Day this year. And You are all well aware of the fact that when you do any online transaction, you have credit card, debit card, you use UPI, you use different modes of online transactions. Then on that way, there are different ways when there are possibilities when these your cards, your information can be misused and wrongly used, or there can be cases of fraud as well. How many of you have seen Jamtada on Netflix? Yeah. So you must also know that how this kind of thing is happening everywhere, and that this is almost very close to reality, that how these people are there skimming everyone, and then there are different ways of committing fraud to every consumer, and then fish out their money from their account. So online transaction now, the thing is that it is now the game of the day, and everyone uses the online transaction portal and their online transaction method for every transaction all across the digital platform. But now what Consumer International that says that talks about on this fair digital finance, that we should build up some mechanism so that the digital transaction system is well protected, and the details of the consumer who is using that platform using digital transaction methods, their rights and their money is properly protected and secure. So in that endeavor, they have called for different mechanism, developing different mechanism by different government of the consumer. So having said that, we just that's only one aspect of how the consumer rights and how the rights of the consumer and then the problems of the consumer can be protected, and how they can what are the problems that they are facing. This is only the tip of the iceberg, that what problems consumers are facing. So there are different other when you go to the market, the MRP is not printed, and then and whatever MRP is printed, then that MRP they charge above the MRP. So by the way, can anyone tell me what is the rule of determining MRP in India? Under the law, how MRP is determined? This is very interesting. Just anyone can tell me just how MRP is determined. Any guess? Just any guess?
By including cost of the project.
Correct. That is the cost. Maximum retail price. What you are saying is the cost. The final cost of the product. What is the MRP? Yes.
Sir, including transportation of the product.
Correct. That is also included in the cost.
Profit.
Again included in the cost.
Sir, according to demand and supply.
According to demand and supply, price is fixed. That is economics. Correct. But there is no law or a soap or anything else, and then there is a deficiency of any kind, and then you can use the mechanism of Consumer Protection Act to get your demands addressed over there. But that 1986 Act was is now obsolete, and it has very less relevance in today's parlance, when there is a digital transaction, there is an online marketplace, and like Flipkart, Amazon, and everything is there, and you can buy goods and purchases from there using digital currency, and then you also have to be protected. And the old act was not good enough to protect your rights and the new phenomenon. So new Consumer Protection Act that came in 2019, and it was notified in 2020, and after that, now this is a very important thing, that this has introduced two very important aspects. One is Consumer Protection Councils. There are earlier also, it's in district level, state level, and the central level, it's still there. But Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, Central Consumer Protection Authority, this is a new phenomenon that has been added in the Consumer Protection Act in 2019, and this is very important. CCPA is an authority where which is different from the consumer commissions, different consumer commissions. There is a National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission at the national level, State Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission at the state level, and the District Consumer Redressal Commission at the district level. But CCPA is a completely independent authority where the commissioners they can examine and regulate and then also impose penalties in cases where there is a gross case of misleading advertisements. There is a gross case of fraud committed by the organizations. I give you an example. CCPA in India, that is now it's not fully functional as of now, but it's functional, and then the commissioner is there, and then they don't have a proper office. They are still operating from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs office in Central Secretariat. But still, now they have taken up many important issues. Like one of the issues that they have taken now is that Flipkart and Amazon, they were selling pressure cookers which were not ISI marked. So the law says that pressure cooker which is not ISI marked, you cannot sell it. So Flipkart and Amazon, they said, we are only a marketplace, we just only provide a platform for the sellers to come to my place and then sell it. But now, that was not accepted by the CCPA, and then CCPA said, no, you are also responsible to see that what product is being sold at your marketplace and who is selling that product, and whether that product is spurious or not. If that is spurious, you cannot sell that product. And they imposed a penalty on on Amazon also and Flipkart also, and that matter, unfortunately, that went to the Delhi High Court, and then Delhi High Court, they stayed by Delhi High Court on the order of the CCPA. But this is a very wonderful example that how CCPA can work and function to see that if there is any kind of wrongdoing by the manufacturer or the seller, they can control at a larger scale and a larger level, not at the consumer level, but at a larger perspective they can do it. Another very important aspect of the Consumer Protection Act is that it also establishes consumer commissions at this national level, state level, and district level. It was also earlier, and this act introduces the concept of mediation. And this is very important that the Consumer Protection Act, this provides for the system of mediation, and if when you file a consumer complaint, and if there is a possibility of settlement, then through the mediation process under the Consumer Protection Act, you can go for mediation and then settle the matters as well. So I already told you about, explained to you about that there are three different levels: national level, state level, and the district level, the consumer commissions. And at every district level, there is one district consumer dispute redressal commission. In Delhi, there are 10. And they cater all the places, and then the nearest from here is, I think, Shalimar Bagh, where you can file a consumer complaint, and that they cater northwest Delhi. So every consumer commission, they have one president and two members, at least two members. I am the president in one of the consumer commissions in Delhi and in Tisdal. And any member, there are two members in the consumer commission. So there is a bench of three persons, one president and two members. The members, they are supposed to be an expert on the consumer subjects, law, and administration, and all different aspects. So, from different aspects of consumer life and then consumer protection, even the consumer activists, they are also brought in as members of the consumer commissions in state level, central level, and state level, and district level as well. There is an example that in the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, one of the doctors is also a member in the National Commission who deals with the cases of medical negligence over there. So there is a dedicated bench in the National Commission headed by one doctor who deals with the cases of medical negligence. So every consumer commission, they have a original jurisdiction. When you file a consumer complaint, you have to see that what is the value of the product for which you have the payment, for which you have made the payment. So according to that, the payment that you have made, according to that, every consumer commission, they have their own jurisdictions. In Delhi, that the district consumer commission, they are now taking up the cases up to the value of the product of 50 lakhs. The state commission, they are dealing with up to the value of 10 crores, and above 10 crores, the matter goes to the national commission. But there is again a marked difference from the earlier system to the new system. Earlier system said that whatever you claim in your prayer of your consumer complaint, that decides the pecuniary jurisdiction. It doesn't matter how much you have paid. Suppose you have paid even 1 rupees, but even if you claim more than a claim of more than 1 crore or even 10 crores or something like that, then in older system you have to go to the National Commission. But now the system says, irrespective of the amount claimed, you can go to a commission which will have the pecuniary jurisdiction to decide, and that pecuniary jurisdiction would be decided by the fact that how much amount you have paid to procure that particular product. So now we are also having some cases of insurance cases where the insurance claims of say 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crores are claimed, and the subject matter is of 2 crore or 5 crore of insurance claim, but the insurance premium was paid only 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs rupees. So according to the new system, that matter now comes to the district commission as of now. So it's very important that how much amount you have paid, not the price of the product, but how much amount you have paid for having that particular product, particular good or services for you. That amount decides the pecuniary jurisdiction of the consumer commissions. And obviously this Consumer Protection Act, now they have given every district commission the right to review its own order. It was not earlier in the 1986 Act. Now we also have got the powers to review our orders, and also we can, when whatever order we pass as a consumer commission, we can that order can also be executed by us. So likewise, there is a state commission in every state, and then national commission at the national level. Now, I will come straight away to the definition part. That what are the important definitions of the Consumer Protection Act and how we can use the mechanism of the Consumer Protection Act. So, what is a complaint? Who is a complainant? Sorry, who is a complainant first? Who is a complainant? So anyone who buys a consumer, that means the one who has made the payment for buying that particular product, or again, it also includes all those persons who are using a product with the consent of the buyer. So the consumer may not be the buyer of the product or the services. This is very important. So even if the buyer is here, and the buyer himself is a consumer, that is correct. But at the same time, if you are using the product with the consent of the buyer, suppose a mobile phone was purchased by your father or someone else and gifted to you, and then you are using it, and there is some defect in that particular product, then you need not go to your father and then you file a consumer complaint. You yourself can file a consumer complaint because you are using the particular product, and that is very important, that even the user of the product with the consent of the buyer can also file a consumer complaint. But the only question is that someone must have paid for that particular product. If it is given to you for free, you are not a consumer, and then you cannot file a consumer complaint. This is very important. So for free services, offered by any agency, that you cannot, in that case, you cannot fall under the Consumer Protection Act as a consumer. But again, for that particular, if someone is offering free service, and then that kind of, if you see any kind of unfair trade practice, you can go to the CCPA and file a formal complaint over there, and the CCPA as a whole can take appropriate action against all those persons, all those agencies, or sellers and companies who are doing unfair trade practice. So not only consumers, any voluntary consumer associations, central government, state government, even the central authorities, the CCPA they can also file a consumer complaint. Suppose they come, CCPA, after investigation, they come up with some kind of unfair trade practice in general by a particular company. And it's very important to understand here that CCPA, they don't have the powers to punish or any kind of sanction, imposing any sanction on the consumer, on the seller, or the product, or the producer. But the National Commission, State Commission, and then the District Commission, we have powers to direct any producer or the seller to desist from selling or producing that particular product. So in that way, central authority, they can also file a consumer complaint if after their investigation they find out that this is a matter of great importance, and then this matter can be dealt with by the consumer commissions. So they can also file a central authority, they can also become a consumer complainant. Suppose there are one or more consumers. Suppose you buy a flat and the builder is not giving you possession, and there are at least 50 persons with the similar, almost identical issue with the builder, that they have made the payment, the amount may vary, but the builder has not been able to give you possession as per the schedule or as per the builder buyer agreement, and they are not giving you the possession of the flat. So in that case, you can also, one or more consumers, they can also join together and they can file a common complaint when their grievances are the same and the reliefs are almost identical. And this is very important. So the consolidated amount paid now, suppose there are 15 flats. Each one of the buyers, they have paid 20 lakhs each. Say 20 flats. So that amount comes to 4 crore. So that matter may not go to the district commission. It will straight away go to the national to the state commission, or if the value is more, then it can go to the national commission. So this is very important. The consolidated value amount paid by all the consumers together will be considered to decide peculiar jurisdiction here when there are more than one consumers. So more than one consumers, they can also file a common complaint, and in case of the death of the consumer, his legal heirs, and in case of the minor, the parents and legal guardians, they can also file a consumer complaint. That's also there. So now, when you file a consumer complaint, what is a consumer complaint? This is also important, that when you file a consumer complaint, it has to be in writing. Consumer complaint cannot be an oral consumer complaint. It has to be in writing, and you have to put it in writing and file a written consumer complaint. And here the problems comes when there are persons, illiterate persons who cannot write or who cannot express. Then the Act also says that the consumer commissions, they can also help them. They can also refer the matter to the legal aid services authority, and the legal aid services authority, they can also assist them and they can file a consumer complaint. But the only thing is that it has to be in writing. And the case of unfair contract, unfair trade practice, restrictive trade practice, if there is any defect in the product, or if there is any deficiency in service, if they have charged prices which are higher than the MRP, or the price which is usually charged by other persons, or this is displayed. So all these aspects can also be can be part of the consumer complaint. If it is the goods which they are selling is hazardous to life and safety, and still they are selling it. Suppose I'll give you an example. In an acid attack victims case in Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, they have passed an order by which they have regulated the sale and purchase of acids. Now every acid which is sold in the shop, that the shopkeeper, they have to record and maintain a record that who has purchased the acid and what quantity of acid they have purchased. But no shop owner, you go to any shop and you can ask, मुझे एसिड चाहिए, मुझे एसिड दे दो, एक बोतल आपको एसिड दे देंगे, आप 50 रुपये हो गए, ले लो, बस लेके चले जाओ. And that kind of action, that kind of behavior by the sellers is also, that product is hazardous to life and safety of the person, and for that you can also file a consumer complaint. Although you can go and file a criminal complaint that see they are not following the Supreme Court guidelines, they are not maintaining the record, and they are telling it to everyone whosoever goes there. But at the same time, that is also a case of the consumer complaint, and you can file a consumer complaint for when the seller is selling something which is hazardous to life and safety of the general public. And this not only includes only those things which are in contravention of law, but also in contravention of the standards. Like if they are selling a pressure cooker without ISI mark, if they are selling any product, any electronic item which is not ISI mark, or which is not as per the standards, Bureau of Indian Standards, then that also is a hazardous to life and safety, and that for that also you can file a consumer complaint. A very important aspect that has been incorporated in the Consumer Protection Act is of the concept of product liability. In 2019, it has been incorporated in the Consumer Protection Act in 2019. The concept of product liability was not there in the earlier Consumer Protection Act. So, what is a product liability? Anyone, please? Can you just please? Do you have any idea what is a product liability? No. Yes.
Sir, it is defined under section 85.
Yes, okay, but what is product liability?
Product liability is that whenever a consumer faces just fraud or something, that it is not the liability of the shopkeeper to replicate the same. It is just the liability of the manufacturer.
Correct, but the thing is, no, you are almost correct. But the peripheral damages. Actually, it was introduced in US. There was a case, very famous case in US. What actually happened that someone purchased a cutter, chainsaw, and he was using the chainsaw, and then there was some damage in the product, and then one of the parts, the spinning parts, that got removed from the product, and it damaged someone. It caused some injury to someone. So the matter came to the US Supreme Court, and the US Supreme Court finally decided this matter. The argument of the product, the seller was, the manufacturer was, see that I only manufactured this particular product, and my liability only limits to that particular product, that it was not working. So I can only replace that. US Supreme Court said that no. When your product is being used, and because of improper assembly or whatever reason, if it caused any damage or any injury to anyone, so all that damages and injuries, peripheral damages and injuries, you are also liable for that, and that is product liability. When you use the product, and because of that use of product, if any damage and injuries are occurring to you, any peripheral damages are occurring to you, then for that damage, you can for that damage there is a product liability, and the producer they can be held liable, and they can also. I give you an example. This case came to me, and this case is still pending. Someone you bought a AC, split AC, एक indoor घर के अंदर लगा, outdoor बाहर लगा, but there was some kind of installation problem, and after a week or so, the indoor unit got blast, and there was a huge fire in the house, and fortunately no one was died, no one was fatally injured, but there was a huge damage. वहाँ पर आग लगी, घर का जो property था वो damage हुआ. Fortunately, the kid was a small baby. He was a 7-8 months old baby. He was there in the room, but उस समय में damage blast हुआ. उसकी mother उसको लेकर तुरंत बाहर भागी, तो वो दोनों बच गए. किसी का लाइफ का कुछ हुआ नहीं. लेकिन that particular, when you say that because of that improper installation, or because of that product was not properly manufactured, or there was some kind of manufacturing defect in the product, if anything happens to the entire family, or any damage happens, then for that also that the company is also liable. So when you produce a product, the entire liability because of use of that product, if there is any kind of manufacturing defect, or any kind of installation defect, or for any defect, if any injury happens, that producer is also liable. And this concept of product liability has also been introduced in the 2019 Consumer Protection Act. It was not earlier in the earlier Consumer Protection Act. So this is very important. So when you go and read the Consumer Protection Act, you just read it with a view that what are new things over here, and how these new aspects can also be used. And this is very important. When you read the Consumer Protection Act, when you use the Consumer Protection Act, people don't know that what are the new things, and then they don't make proper prayers. But you have to understand that these are the nuances of the Consumer Protection Act, and then you can also use and then as a right. Very briefly, I have already discussed this. That who is a consumer? I have already told you that who buys the product or paid or promise to pay for that particular product, and a person who is using that particular product with the consent of the buyer. So buys the products, hires the services. Only difference is there is only two things. Buys the product, hires the services. Services, you cannot buy the services, you can always hire the services. So, so for all availability of services and buying of the service, buying of the product, you can also you are a consumer. But this clause also says that in order to eliminate the commercial transactions and in order to eliminate the business houses from coming to the consumer protection consumer commissions, they say that if you are using it for the commercial purposes, then you are not a consumer. But again, even if you are using it for commercial purposes, but only for self-employment or earning livelihood, then again you become a consumer. So small shopkeepers, small businessmen, if they are buying it something and that product is not good, and then suppose someone buys some atta chakki jaise kisi ne kharida. This is also a case pending with me. Someone bought an atta chakki and that was installed, and that atta chakki is not working, and he has filed a consumer case with her saying that, see, we got it, we purchased it for earning my livelihood because I got it installed at my home. अब वहाँ पर वो उसको इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं. Me and my wife and my son, they are operating it. एक बंदे को रखा हुआ है, उसको उसे चलाता है, लेकिन ये काम नहीं कर रहा है. Although this is for the commercial purpose, but this particular use of that atta chakki is for earning livelihood by means of self-employment, then that particular atta chakki owner is also a consumer. And anyone who buys the goods or hires the services or through any mode, online or offline. Earlier, this particular provision was not there. Online, offline, tele-shopping, direct selling, multi-level marketing, all those they are now covered under the Consumer Protection Act. Earlier, this was not there, so therefore, this was a little tricky in the earlier Consumer Protection Act. But now, all the modes of transactions they are covered under the Consumer Protection Act. This is very interesting that I just there are certain case laws. If you are law student, therefore you would also appreciate, and then I would just also like you to take note of the citations and then write down the citations and then use these citations and read these judgments from the Supreme Court or from your library or anywhere. It's also available online as well. The student is not a consumer. This issue was decided in 2010 in a number of cases when the Supreme Court they have said that education institutions, they are not providing, they are not in scrutiny in the Supreme Court in a different case, and the Supreme Court is now again examining because when this judgment came in picture in 2010, there were very few private universities, and now the private universities are there, and then the issue of private universities and the offers whatever subjects, and then they are offering, many of the universities they are offering courses which are not recognized by the AICTE or even different agencies. So in all such cases, whether they are consumers or not, so this matter is again being examined by the Supreme Court. Again, government servants, Supreme Court also said in 2013 that government servants they are not consumers. They are not consumers, but not generally. This case is a little different. Suppose it was a case when the Supreme Court was examining that someone was having some kind of demands with respect to his pensionary benefits. So for pensionary benefits, his argument was that I have also paid for that services and then for pensionary benefits. So by virtue of making payment for availing these pensionary benefits, I became a consumer. The Supreme Court said no, that's not, your contribution was not the payment. Your contribution was accumulated, and that contribution was the accumulated amount was being given back to you. So therefore, the pensionary benefit of the consumers, you cannot go and file a consumer complaint. Self-employment includes maintenance and immediate family members. That is pretty obvious, and then this is, and all these judgments are other presence of the office. So, yeah, this is a little thing on to this, that how to file a consumer complaint. How much time do I have now? How much time do I have now? Around? Half an hour. Okay. So I'll just try to finish up in the next 10-15 minutes, and then after that I'll just take some questions and then have it a little interactive. So how to file a consumer complaint? So as I already said, that consumer complaint you have to file it in writing, and when you file a consumer complaint and in writing, and then the matter comes up before the consumer commission, district commission, state commission, or the national commission, then we do an admission hearing, and in the admission hearing, prima facie you have to establish that this is a consumer dispute. And based on the fact that if it's a prima facie established that this is a consumer dispute, then notice is issued to the opposite party, and they have to file a reply within 45 days. And this 45 days is very sacrosanct, and this 45 days cannot be extended in any way. Supreme Court judgment, there is a Supreme Court judgment in 2020, Healy Multipurpose versus New India Assurance, which says that Constitution bench judgment, 5 judgments, which says that the 45 days period of filing reply under the Consumer Protection Act is very sacrosanct, and that cannot be extended in any manner. In any manner. So consumer commissions, that 45 days time for filing reply by the opposite party cannot be extended by the consumer commissions in any way. Today only there was a case when one of the lawyers of the opposite party, he came and he said the notice was received by the head office, and from the head office, traveling from the head office to the legal department, it took 3 months. Therefore, we need 50-45 days from the time when it was received in the legal department. We said it was your procedural problem, it was a lapse on your part, that it took 3 months from one department to travel letter from one department to the other department, and for that the Consumer Protection Act cannot give you additional time, and the Supreme Court judgment is very clear that within 45 days from the receipt of the notice and the copy of the complaint, you have to file reply. So this is very important, that when you file a consumer complaint, the purpose of having a speedy consumer complaint is to have a speedy justice, but and for that particular purpose, the opposite party is required to file a reply. The Act says that once the reply is filed, Act is actually silent on that. It says that when the reply is filed, the process is over. After that, the matter can be heard, and then final order can be passed. But there was an earlier NCDRC, National Commission judgment, which says that no, when the reply has been filed, then the complainant should also get an opportunity to file his rejoinder, and thereafter both the parties should file an evidence, because you are conducting a consumer commission, they are conducting a summary procedure. So they must be both the parties must be allowed to file evidence, written evidence in an academic format. Although you may not permit both the parties to lead cross-examination, examination and cross-examination of the parties, only the written evidence in academic form can be permitted. So in that case, because of that NCDRC judgment, we also have to give time to the complainant to file their rejoinder, and both the parties to file their respective evidences, and after that the final arguments takes place. And if required, the consumer forum can also get expert opinion. Suppose in medical negligence cases, we, although it's not necessary or mandatory, but we send the matters for obtaining an expert medical opinion. Suppose there is some product which is found spurious or adulteration is there found, then we send the sample, we send the sealed sample obtained from the company of the same batch. And then send it for the expert technical expert opinion, and testing of the material is also done because of that. So with that, so yeah, that kind of thing that can also be done prior to final argument, and when the expert opinion and the test report is received by the consumer commissions, we give right to both the copy to both the parties, and they can also file their respective objections onto those expert opinions as well if they wish this so At any process, the Consumer Act says that at any process we can refer this matter for the mediation, and when the matter is referred to the mediation, then matter can be settled. And this is very important that when the matter is referred to the mediation is to be done only with the consent of both the parties, and none of the parties can be forced to go for the mediation. So if complainant and the opposite party, they both agree to go for mediation, then only the matter can be referred to the mediation, and the mediator is appointed, and the mediator they take care of the talks between the parties, and accordingly mediation report is filed. So when the matter is referred to the mediation may succeed or it may fail, and in case the mediation is failed, the matter is again started from the same stage where it was left before referring the matter to the mediation. But if the matter is settled in the mediation, then as per the settlement terms of the mediation report, the matter is disposed of, and the payments or whatever is to be done. And this is one thing is very important, that when the matter is settled in the mediation, in any court, in family court or any other court, commercial court, any court, that mediation report, that mediation settlement cannot be challenged in appeal in any court, in any higher court. This is very important. So this is the mediation, when the matter is referred to the mediation, that ends the litigation process. Because when you go to the litigation, trial court, even in trial court, even in civil court, when you file a case, civil suit, and then the order is decided, then you can file a revision, you can file an appeal, you can go to the High Court, Supreme Court, and so even Supreme Court also, you can file review, you can file curative, whatever you want. So it's never ending thing. So when I was practicing, I came to a case which was going on. I was engaged in that particular case in the second round of litigation in Supreme Court, and that the person who engaged me, he was the third generation who was litigating in that particular case. So you can just imagine that how long a case can prolong. So, but when the matter is referred to the mediation and the matter is settled, that mediation order becomes final, and that order cannot be challenged, and the litigation process ends there. So this is a speedy process of taking things to the finality, and then to finish things properly. So, and we also do regular mediations in our consumer commissions every month. At least 30 to 40 cases they are referred to mediation, and then 60-70% of cases they got settled in mediation. So obviously this is the new thing that has been added in the Consumer Protection Act, that we can also review our own orders only if there is on the ground if there is any illegality on part of law or any error of fact. Then the orders of the consumer commissions, they can be challenged in the higher authority. From the state commission it goes to the state commission, from the state commission it goes to the national commission, and from national commission it goes to the Supreme Court now. So, but now here again there is a new judgment by Supreme Court. I don't really recall the name of the title of the case, but in that case Supreme Court they have used the judgment of L. Chandrakumar. L. Chandrakumar judgment was with respect to the CAT, Central Administrative Tribunal. When the CAT Act came in picture, so it was created, a separate entity was created to deal with service matters of the government servants, because there are a very large number of government servants are there all across the country, and their cases are going to the high courts. So Central Administrative Tribunal was created, and then in every state, parallel to Central Administrative Tribunal, state tribunals were also created for state government employees. So the Act said that the order of the CAT would be challenged straight to the Supreme Court, and it will not go to the High Court. So L. Chandrakumar judgment that said that the powers of the High Court under Article 226 and 227 is the fundamental and is the basic structure of the Constitution. You must have read the judgment of Goraknath and all those judgments where Supreme Court has defined the term basic structure of the Constitution. So the L. Chandrakumar judgment also said that the scrutiny power of the High Courts under Article 226 and 227, these are basic structure of the High Court, and you cannot take away that right of the High Court by introducing a separate provision that orders of the CAT can be directly challenged in the Supreme Court. So you cannot bypass the High Court. So all the matters of the cat now goes to the High Court and then to the Supreme Court. So instead of removing one level, it has added one level, that particular judgment. So that judgment again was used recently by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has said that Article 227 that says that High Courts have superintendence power over all the courts and all the authorities, and it stipulates that you cannot take away the power of superintendence of the High Court under 227. So therefore, High Court also have the right to superintendence of the over the consumer commissions, national commissions, state commission and the district commission, and all the orders of the consumer commissions now they can also be challenged in the High Courts. So this is also very important judgment, and then I just request you all to just go through this, run a Google search and onto this judgment, and then find out this judgment and read this judgment, because this judgment will give you a very good insight about the constitutional law and then how constitution is being interpreted by the courts. So this is very important. So the fees for filing a consumer complaint, it is now for if you have paid the value of the complaint amount paid is less than 5 lakhs, you don't have to pay any fees. And if it is between 5 lakhs and 10 lakhs, the amount is 200, then 400, 1,000 and 2,000, up to 1 crore. So now there is a slight change here, because it was this slide was prepared a little earlier. Now the district commission, they can only deal with the cases where the value of the product is up to 50 lakhs. So number 5 now goes to the state commission, and then up to then everything now remains in the state commission as of now. This is the fee. You can also do an e-filing now. This is also important, that when you file a consumer complaint, you can also file an e-filing, and this website has been developed, and you can do e-filing. This is a very I would say that there are certain improvements also required on the website. We have also suggested improvements, but as of now, this e-Dakil website is working properly, and everywhere they can file consumer complaints. All across the India, they are filing consumer complaints using the website of e-Dakil. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. What a wonderful session it was. I am obliged of Shri Divya Jyoti, sir, for such a wonderful and enlightening session. Now, I would like to invite our director, sir, to facilitate our guests with a memento and giving few words. Director, sir, I would like you to give few words.
Faculty and students, the subject which is deliberated is really very important. Although the law is changing very fast, and especially in the case of consumer protection, earlier deficiency in service and so many things were talked, but now the new act has brought a lot of new things, and today what Sir has said, it has really enlightened us, and such sessions are very important, and those who came to attend this session is really benefited. Thank you sir, thank you very much.